said a little bit there, didn't we, of the Roker Roar.
That's it, yeah.
Now, that was written 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And
for the 1992 Wembley final of that year. And it sold in thousands. It's incredible. Everywhere we went, we were causing riots. They were telling us, don't sing it tonight, they're going crazy. And of course, on the cup final day, what a night that was. I was so happy. I mean, they was playing my song for weeks on end, on radio every hour. I was doing the TV shows with it, performing it. And, of course, everywhere I went, other people were singing it. It was great.
And it was in the top 10 in Britain, obviously.
Yes, it was, number 7 officially. Yeah.
That's lovely. But that was, as you say, in 3 years ago. But you came to live on the coast, as we look at this amazing 40 years in show business, in 1976. What were you doing in Sunderland?
Well, I came, first of all, to the American-based Rota. You know it?
Oh, this you're talking about this, but what were you doing in Sunderland?
In Sunderland?
Yes.
Well, funny enough, that piano bar that you saw there, where they took that TV thing, that's where I was contracted to play there. And although it's a small town, Sunderland, believe me, that was one of the best piano bars I ever played in. A fantastic place. You had to be there to see it. And a prominent businessman that lived here did all the timeshares and everything. He made me an offer, really, I simply couldn't refuse to go there. And originally I went for 6 weeks. I stayed about 2.5 years.
And then you came back to the coast.
And came back, yes.
Well, now, Sunderland is really very famous as a glass-making place, isn't it?
Yes, it is. One of the first, I think, in ever.
As well as for football.
Yeah, as well as football, of course. You can't leave the football out.
But you're a Leeds lad.
Yes. Born in Leeds and went to the Trinity College of Music when I was 6 years old. By the time I got to 13, I was proficient in both piano and guitar. And did all the local musical halls and the old Empire circuits, which were magical. The Empire days, those days, you just went on and did your 10 or 12 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever you were allotted, and that's all. You didn't have to do anything else. And then later on, of course, you had to pump amplifiers about and everything, but on the theatre was a different game altogether.
When did you start? Because, to be quite honest, Lloyd, I mean, I see a little touch of the grey hair.
There's snows there.
But I mean, you're not that old. You must have gone on doing into show business at a very tender young age, no?
13 years old, actually. 13, yeah.
So now we all know how old he is. You see, even I can count 14, 13. Yes, right. That's finished. And you started on your birthday, didn't you?
Yeah, yes, almost, yes.
Which was January 26th.
26, yeah, Burns Night. After Burns Night.
Which was yesterday.
Yes.
It was actually yesterday, this 40 years.
Yeah, we had a heck of a night, I'll tell you that.
Just
recovering now.
Oh, I'm sure the viewers join us in wishing you a very, very happy birthday, Lloyd. And sorry that, you're joining us to go through an ordeal with a bit of a hangover, but never mind. So from Sunderland and Leeds and all your roots back there in when you started at the age of 13, you learnt your craft the hard way, as they
the hard
do.
way, definitely.
And then you were discovered, weren't you, as everybody is?
Yeah, discovered, what a lovely word.
Who were you discovered by? He was a very famous gentleman, wasn't he?
Yes, he was called, they used to call him the Globe-Trotting Paul England.
Paul England, fitting name.
And nearly all his acts, the second names were famous towns or places, like Julie London, who was the toast of the late 40s and 50s. She had all the songs like Love for Sale and things like that. Very glamorous woman. And then there was Carl Denver, Rimaway. Judy Cannon in Canada, not so much known in Europe, but in Canada, Judy Cannon. And of course, Winifred Hatwell was the ace piano player. Brilliant. And from there, he put with Joe Cohen's agency, with the Paul Wingrave agency, actually, in London. But Joe Cohen used to run a lot of it. And in fact, he was in the films with Laurel and Hardy. And they had him on the David Jacobs show and or Mike Parkinson show, and they showed it. And he was an interesting man. And he put me all over the place. I mean, everywhere, abroad, working with all the big stars.
But this wasn't just playing the piano, was it? You came into piano playing later. What were you doing?
Well, during that time, of course, guitar, piano, impressions, comedian, a whole mixture of tricks, incorporating a bit, maybe 1.5 hours cabaret act. And that's a long time, 1.5 hours, believe me, to keep them entertained. Of course, now I do piano bar work. But I was going to say about Joe, just getting back to Joe Cohen. I mean, he knew so many people. He put me places where I could never even dream about. And then, from there, I went to a man called Heath Allen. Now, Heath Allen, when Elvis was in Germany, although he wasn't publicised of doing shows there, he did shows there, and they had a group called the Red Peppers. And Heath Allen, my manager, was Elvis's bass player, and because he knew a lot of people too. Now, imagine me at 22 or 23. I've just done the Johnny Duncan and the Bluegrass Boys TV show, along with Cy Grant, the Spinners, and all these other famous people at that time. I'm due to make a record in London, which my big time's coming now, my big break's coming. I'm due to pick up the Clubland Award of the North, which was like the Entertainer of the Year, and on that 2 days before, I broke every bone in my right foot, and was in hospital 9 months. Of course, that's why I never really got anywhere. But I still had a good life and still earned a living out of it, and I'm happy for the times.
There was a moment when you went to Sweden, when you suddenly said, the piano's for me.
Well, I got a contract to go there for 6 weeks. I knew 20 songs. And I said, I was still thinking cabaret. I said, look, I'll do 20 minutes, 2.5 hours, or an hour. He said, well, you go on at 7 o'clock and you finish at 1 with 1 break. I said, what? I said, I only know 20 songs. He said, improvise. Well, I knew 20 songs then, but I know a lot more now.
Certainly do. My goodness, 22 years of your 40 years in show business have been spent in the port, and you love the piano. You love it, don't you? This is what you want to do, and always have done. It's nice to be in a profession doing something you want to do. I wonder how many people can say that and celebrate 40 years at it too. But when you came here in 1976, it was only for a short visit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That was getting back to Rota that I started off with there. Rota's a base past Cadiz, and it's a typical American U.S. Marine base. I went there, and while I was there, this Greek-American in the officers' club, he said, would you like to go to Marbella? And I said, well, I've heard of it. But I don't think really I could fit in up there, because I'm a Neil Diamond, honky-tonk piano player. He said, believe me, I think you'll do all right. Well, I said, give me a contract for 3 weeks, and that way I'll know if I like it and whether they like me. Well, I went to this bar, and there was Roberto Rossi, God bless him, he's gone now.
Oh, yes.
This beautiful Liberace-type piano player with all the flowery, and with all the cat suits, and I mean, he looked magnificent, like Las Vegas. And I thought, well, if I'm going to go on now, I'll just do it the way I always do. And I did. At that time, Neil Diamond was like pretty top there, which he still is now. And I did this Neil Diamond set, and the place came in. Well, the next night, Roberto and I had the contrast in music. They were queuing outside at 10:15. You couldn't believe it. And because in the audience, you would have Bruce Forsyth, you'd have even Sean Connery when he used to stay out a little bit those days, and Robert Sangster, all these people. And it was great. And the people would have $500,000 in each hand. Oh, magic time. But it's all changed now.
You have noticed changes, have you, in the port?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think it's coming back again. We've noticed in the last 3 years we've got better and better and better. And I think the properties are going up again. And of course, there's a lot more entertainment now. They're all over the place.
Yes. But you've seen it through in 22 years there. You've always busy. Wherever Lloyd is playing in the port, you've played in several places.
Yeah, actually.
You started in the Crescendo.
That's right, the old Crescendo. That was when George and Jill Hill, do you remember those? They had it. And they had the big glass top piano that went about 18 foot. And the glass mirrors. And when you looked in the mirrors, it was the type of glass that made you look better than what you thought you were, Well,
it needs to if you're playing all those hours. My goodness.
And people just to sit there looking at themselves,
Did you mention, 40 years you've performed as a young learner, really, in the profession with famous names. And, Elton John, Engelbert Humperdinck, Vince Hill, people like that.
Yes, well, Engelbert, I remember him when he first started off in the Northeast, because... And he was, he didn't have any hit records. He just sang what we sang. But he was brilliant. He had a special voice. And Elton John in Paris, people thought it was a record. It was just a piano and him, nothing more. And you try going on after somebody like that. You're in the business then, I'll tell you.
Well, you certainly knew you were in the business one day in the port of Banus, didn't you? Because you played for Pavarotti.
I did. Actually, what happened was I had an American singer, a really great singer. She could belt out the blues and the rock and roll. Her name was Melita. She was fantastic. And we used to do lots of, singing together and all that. Anyway, she said, this chap would like to sing a couple of songs. I said, what would you like to do? He said, and because there was no synthesizers then, it was just piano. He said, well, I realised, he said, I'm not going to ask you to play anything operatic. He said, well, have you heard of Richard Tolber? I said, well, of course I have. I said, well, we'll do a couple of those. And he told me what they were. And one of the tunes, I told him I didn't know that, I couldn't remember the middle part because it was quite difficult. But he actually shouted the chords out to me. And afterwards he complimented me and told me I had a perfect ear. And I thought that was fantastic. That was coming from him. I didn't know at the time it was him.
Didn't he also ask you to turn all the microphones and
oh, yeah, he said, turn all the microphones off, I won't need it. And when he sang, you can't believe this man. He filled every inch of space in that place. It was so sweet and powerful. Afterwards, we were doing a rock and roll medley when the Saints go marching in rock and roll with Melita. Who comes up to the microphone? Pav. When the Saints... what a night. It was just sheer magic,
Sheer magic.
Yeah.
Because
when he told me who he was, and everybody was like going mad because it was Pavarotti. I realised who I'd been playing for, and I don't think I would have played correct if I'd have known.
It was lucky you didn't know.
Yeah, I think so.
But he's a difficult person not to recognise with his enormous size.
He wasn't so big those days. He didn't seem to be as portly as they make him out to me now in the photographs. Although he's a big man, but he seemed just a tall man with
a bit
plump, pleasantly plump.
Oh, nice. Well, I don't think we've got Pavarotti looking in now, but it's a very lovely description. He's pleasantly plump. We'll remember that now, ladies. But though we don't have any photographs of Lloyd with Pavarotti, we do have just a little mixture of super photographs. Now, look at this. All in the 80s in the port. Who's that?
Well, that's Paul Henry, who played Benny in Crossroads.
That's a famous face.
And 33 million people used to watch him 3 times a week. And what people didn't know, you can see the microphone there, he had a beautiful voice, beautiful tenor.
And that's you there with slightly darker hair?
That's right, yeah, and slightly younger. He had a great voice.
Well, you can't go through 40 years without getting a little bit older. But these were people who just came in and just got up and sang?
Yeah, they would go in the other bars, but they wouldn't sing there. But in my bar, they used to fight each other to get on the microphone. Of course, that's Freddie Starr.
Freddie Starr. He's still coming down, isn't he?
Oh, he's a great guy. He was, I think, one of the funniest men I've ever seen. And of course, it was so unpredictable. You don't know what the heck he's going to do. He's liable to do anything.
Good singer?
Oh, yeah. He did the best Jim Reeves voice I've ever heard. All of his are brilliant. All of his voices. And of course, that's Eddie Large.
Looking very large.
Yes. There's another one. He used to come in and just, he'd say, play a song and do about 25 voices. Incredibly funny. I worked with him as well before they were known in South Shields of all places. But they were funny then. You could see they were going to get there.
And these people must come and say, oh, hi, Lloyd. It's because they know you from so many years, yes?
Yeah, they keep coming in. Oh, there's Windsor Davis.
Ah, oh, lovely. Look at him, yes.
That man had the most charisma I think I've ever seen. He had an aura coming off him. And he said to me, do you know Whispering Grass? Because they just had a #1 for 3 weeks. The old Ink Spot song. Because I did the high Don Asdale voice, the high bit, and he did his and all that stuff. And he was just magical. Brilliant. Well, this comes in for a lot of stick of many people, but I tell you what, that man has got one of the best voices you'll ever hear live. He sings so high. And of course, if you want to ad-lib with him and shout something at him, he'll cut you down in 2 minutes in a nice way. So funny. I mean, it's such a talent.
Des O'Connor, the master entertainer.
In fact, he took us to the London studio and we met Phyllis Diller and Leo Sayers and Lenny Henry and all the others. It was great.
Well, I think we've still got a few more famous faces coming up, have we?
That's the famous John Lodge, the bass player with the Moody Blues. I mean, they're like the Led Zeppelins and the ranked with the Beatles and people like that. That's such a nice man.
He looks nice.
Oh, he's a great guy. He comes down to the record now. I think he's got a home here now.
So all these people pop in and play and sing with you, Lloyd. Yeah. Must be tremendous. Very magical nights, I think you described them.
Yes.
Magical nights in 40 years?
Yes. No, it doesn't seem like 40 years, but I hope I'm going to have a few more years yet.
No regrets?
Well, apart from the time I told you when I nearly made it, but didn't matter. I've had a good life.
We've had a lovely life here on the coast, and you've done so much. I mean, I'm sure many of the viewers didn't know that this gentleman is a composer and a songwriter. In fact, I was listening to a song the other day called Marbella Magic, because magic to you is important, isn't it? The magic of living, I think.
Lovely word.
Well, there we are. So he's the magical man we've just been talking to, celebrating 40 years in show business. A great, great gentleman.
For Alan, one more song, Alan, and then because your hands was aching. just like a Sunday morning light. You see that he's telling I'm looking well, as you can tell.
up for you, and all that matters are the things I do. I guess we'll always have the dreams we plan, but only dreams while I'm a poor man, girl. I'll always be content just loving you. I know you only want my lover too, but babe, I'm gonna reach out with my hands. Really soon you'll be a rich man's girl. Sha-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, sha-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, sha-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You won't always be a poor man's girl. I'm